I do trust you, homie. I see what you did there. I see what you did. Nice. Yeah, that worked the kink out of that a little bit better. Alright, we don't need that guide track anymore. Time to Space News start, brother. Oh, it's crap, Shy. I'm not... What do you guys... we can do space. Yeah, we could do Space News now. Yeah, let's do Space News now. And I think I didn't have after hours planned because I was gonna wake up early in the morning, so I didn't plan anything for after hours. We'll play more railroads after Space News. Yeah, Shirley, the bridge looks good, man. It's gonna come out real nice. Yeah. I mean, I said if we were gonna use the cut track that the developers made, that I would want a challenge rather than just following it because that's annoying. So. Yeah, we're making a double line. The Space and Rocket Review. Got some big news about landers today from NASA. But give me about 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to talk to Brimo about... I got to talk to Brimo about some stuff about real estate tomorrow. It's free real estate. It's free real estate for you. Oh, quick side note for people that like Mustard. Mustard did a thing about the XB70. Oh, yeah. Can I post an infographic for Space News? Yeah, sure. Here, we'll go with no ghosts today. Okay, I'll be right back, dudes.
It's a ghost. The ghost of a house that once was new. But it hasn't always been like this. Once upon a time, when the house was new, happy people lived here, and the owner was proud of his house. Not a worry in the world. This man's house was his castle. But a year or two passed, and then the trouble began. Just little things at first. A drawer that wouldn't close. A window that wouldn't open. And then greater faults. Things that took time and money. The owner could never permanently cure his house of these ailments. They grew more as time went on. Finally, he gave up. He realized the trouble was far below the surface, in the foundation under the house. Today, every man's automobile is his house on wheels, giving him a roof over his head, keeping him warm in winter, cool in summer, besides moving him about wherever he wants to go. But there are haunted cars, just as there are haunted houses. One shock from an earthquake and a house falls to pieces, But your house on wheels must be built to withstand an earthquake every second or oftener when it's that kind of a road. Rolling and bumping, twisting and turning. If a car does not have a good foundation, it soon becomes the haunt of ghosts. Body joints loosen up, bringing squeaks and rattles. Even the tires get more wear because the car weaves and won't hold the road. A car must have a strong foundation. And in an automobile, the foundation is the frame. Few people see the real foundations of their houses, and few owners see the frames of their automobiles. And there are many important engineering developments in the modern automobile frame, which aren't apparent when you look at the car. Let's see what an automobile frame has to do, and what kind of a frame is required to do the job. This line is the road. These are the wheels, and this is the body. Now let's look at it from another viewpoint, looking down on top of the car. The car is supported at four corners by the wheels. We must have a strong, rigid foundation to support the body over its entire length. So let's take off the body and build a foundation, starting with these two pieces of steel, which we will call side members. Now we need something to keep the side members apart and something to hold them together. So we put in two more steel pieces, which we call cross members. But how are we going to turn those front wheels? They haven't enough room. Well, let's give them all the room they want. Let's make the frame narrower in front. That's better. How about the rear end of the frame? We've got one cross member, but that's not enough. It will give us a good, rigid support for the gas tank, but we need something stronger than that. Let's put in another one that makes the rear of the frame strong and rigid. And just to make sure that our foundation won't go together in the middle like this, let's put in another cross member right about here. Now we have a frame that you can't pull apart, that you can't push together. Pretty good job as far as we've gone. Hey there, that won't do. To prevent this sort of thing, let's put in some more steel girders like the letter Y. Now, any force applied here will be transferred to the center of the frame. But we don't want to be compelled to make this center crosspiece too heavy. So, to help spread the strain, let's put in these members, like the letter K. Of course, we have to consider the engine. We're going to support the front of the engine here. So we'll have to have another cross member here to support the rear of the engine. Now we've designed a skeleton frame, but before we ride on it, we'll have to do some figuring. And the first thing we want to know is what part of the frame is going to get the most severe strain, or as engineers would say, where is the point of maximum stress? This is a piece of steel supported at each end. We apply a weight at the center of this piece of steel. We let the steel bend up and down, and it doesn't break because the strain is equalized throughout its length. But suppose we fasten a steel box over half the length of the beam and again apply the weight. Up and down it bends, but this time it breaks because while this end was held rigid by the steel box above it, this point was doing most of the bending. Right here at the edge of the box was the point of greatest strain. As an engineer would say, the stress was localized. So it is with an automobile frame. The point of greatest strain is here at the front edge of the steel box or body of the car. And on the frame, that point is here. The usual way of building this part of the frame would be to use only one piece of steel. But in this frame, we're going to use two steel girders like this and tie them together with a heavy steel plate known as a gusset. This construction gives us rigid strength where we need it. Another point of great stress is here So here again, we add a heavy steel plate to give us extra strength. When we ride on the frame we have designed, we'll find that there is another point of heavy strain, here in the hump, where we bent the side member up to get over the rear axle. So we'll give it a reinforcement too. Since we are going to have harmony between the front and rear springs, knee action, on the car we are building, let's make the front end of the car as rigid as possible. With knee action, we use this sturdy girder of steel to hold the wheels. It's time to add these brackets, called step hangers, which support the running boards. And now look out for the rivets. Here they come. "219 tough steel rivets to hold our frame together. Cold-driven rivets, too, that won't shrink after they're in place. Now, we have a strong, rigid foundation. With this YK frame, your car will stand up under the hardest usage for tens of thousands of miles. Strong, heavy side members for support. Sturdy cross members for rigidity. Big steel center braces for strength. Heavy reinforcements at points of greatest strain. A good husky support for the engine. And a strong crosspiece to hold the knee action wheels. Such a frame gives rigid support to the whole car. Springs, steering gear, and engine have a firm foundation. The body and every part of the car ride on a frame that is solid, strong, and safe.
Cool.
With such a foundation for your car, you can ride on good roads or bad roads or any kind of road. Your car has a foundation to protect all vital parts from damaging shocks and strains.
30, Swishio, for these.
Summers and winters
Nice
may
house.
come and go, but such a house on wheels will never have to fear the creaks and rattles of a haunted house.
See that mailbox, man? That's a really good video. That's a really good video. So, you know, somebody asked in chat, like, okay, what, are they still built this way? Frames are still built out of steel, but the thing is that cars nowadays, while still having a frame like this, they have what's called a unibody, where the frame and the body of the car are one piece, unibody. However, pickup trucks are still made this way. Yeah. Pickup trucks are still made. Like, if you look at the 97, like, I'll show you guys the frame on that thing sometime. Show the frame on the 97, it looks exactly like that. It doesn't have these cross members in it. How, they've, this is a good way to do this, but they've figured out some better ways to do it. There are weak points in this design. I can point them out to you. Where do you think the weak point is? Anybody? Where do you think it is? Right there. That will bend. Because it's an obtuse angle. It will bend. See that? That's going to bend a lot. Force added here is going to bend that right there. This is not a good way to do this. They figured out a better way to do it in the 60s. Or in the 50s, I should say. In the 50s, they went with a design that has a chassis that has a member that goes this way and it connects back here. A full beam that goes right through here, and then it has a hole in the center, right, for the drive shaft to go through, and then it crosses as well. So, like, if we look at it, Edsel Ford frame, or a Ford Edsel frame, I should say. Oh, the Edsel actually doesn't have the cross in it. That may have been, that's Buick. Never mind. See, the Edsel, if you look at it, I'll use this as an example anyway. So the Edsel, instead of using C channels for the side members, they have a fully boxed frame, which means it's a full box, right? And that's what gives it rigidity, right? But you see, this car from the 50s is the same. It's the same idea, same thing. But see, what the Edsel did was they bent the frame rails out like that, and that concaveness will, or the convexness, I should say, that gives you structural rigidity. Buick is the one that did that. So let's go with a 58 Buick frame. I think it's a 58. Buick has that X frame design. There it is, right there. Check it out. Buick came up with the idea of just putting cross members through and then having the drive shaft go through where the X is. See that? Yeah, that was Buick's solution to it. But you see, look, it's the same design. It's the same thing. You see, it goes out and in, and then you have these things right here. They're called torque boxes. Cars still have torque boxes to this day, but they're integrated into the body. The frame is attached to the body. These are what's called a body-on-chassis. Body-on-chassis cars lasted until the 2000s. The last body-on-chassis car was the Crown Victoria, and that stopped in 2011. There's no body-on-chassis cars. Check this out. Then they went with a full X frame because they figured out, oh, that's gonna be really strong, because the body of the car is going to be your parallels here, and then the structure gets carried through the frame. So the body, when it's attached to the frame, will make sure the car isn't rigid. So because the body will be out here somewhere, so some of the force would be transmitted to the body in this particular design. The thing is that if the body gets damaged, then the chassis twists. So they stopped doing that. Now, there was a guy named Colin Chapman who came up with the Esprit chassis. You want to see that? Check this out. Look at that one. Look at that. Lotus chassis. Pretty cool, huh? So, Colin Chapman came up with the idea of taking the two frame rails and keeping them parallel, but making them go through the center of the car. Not necessarily in an X. They go to a T. And that front cross member, because, well, it's a rear engine car, that front cross member stays nice and rigid up here. Basically, it's an I-beam that goes to the front. You still are susceptible to twisting, but because this is boxed, right? Because it's boxed steel, it's not going to bend very much, especially if you brace it on the inside. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool chassis designs out there, guys. Yeah, this one they thought of from Formula One. If we look at like a here, Chrysler in the 60s, this is just an example. This is like how they ended up doing things by the time the 60s rolled around. So the Chrysler is a unibody. Unibodies had come around by then. This is not body on chassis, okay? So if you look at the interior of the Dodge right here, take a look. This is one with that's being restored with the floor pans out. Check this out. You see the frame rail? There's the frame rail, but it's integrated into the body, a unibody. It's one piece. It's all one big piece of metal. That keeps everything nice and strong because you literally welded the chassis of the car to the body. This is what they figured out in the late 50s, early 60s. You come up with a unibody design. It's really smart. But if you look, those torque boxes are still there. The torque boxes, all that shoots all the way back to this design, it's still there. Modern cars still have that. This kind of thing going on right there. There's a lot of rigidity right around the firewall, right in front of the dashboard. See the torque box right here? This that'll carry the load carries the load. Well, that doesn't really carry the load. It kind of bridges everything together and makes it nice and strong. You see how there's a torque box up here, right? And then there's one back here. And on the Chrysler, you have these holes right here. Those are where the suspension mounts, believe it or not. So the Dodge actually has a really, really reinforced front unibody because of the type of suspension that they were using. But you can still see that it goes out and it angles like that. It angles right there. You have a diagonal member right there to triangulate the torque box and keep it nice and strong. Just like this, only it's kind of flipped around. Now, another cool thing about car chassis, right, is, so Chrysler in the 60s also did this. this design has an engine cross member and then a front suspension cross member. The automotive engineers figured out in the 60s that you can combine those. You combine those into one thing. If you take the engine cross member and move it right here, and take the suspension cross member, move it back a little bit, move your front wheels back a little ways, right? You can combine those two into one thing and save a lot of mass. Chryslers do that. The 68 Charger, the Charger is on that unibody, so it's all one big piece. I'm trying to find a good picture of it. Let's go front cross member. Those aren't pictures of it. That's all. It's not the right stuff. Nope. That's a Mustang 2. There it is. So check this out. On the Chryslers, my Coronet has one of these. They call it the K member because it looks like a K. Check this out. The front suspension cross member, look at it. It's also kind of triangulated, right? It's also carrying the load of the engine and the suspension. And then it bolts to the front of the unibody. 4 bolts. Drop the whole front of a Chrysler out with 4 bolts if you really know what you're doing. Who was it that drove a unibody car across country on 3 wheels to prove that the design works? I forget, Hellfish. Has After Hours been decided yet? I want to play more railroads, dude. Now, don't get me wrong. Chassis are supposed to flex in some way, shape, or form. You don't want to put too much stress on one particular part. They're designed to bend just a little bit. You don't want it to bend too much. You want a little bit of bend, not too much. But yeah, there you go. Like, look, even the mounts for the seats, just like the running board mounts that are on this design, like the concepts didn't change. They don't change very much because there's only see it has those, right? But the Chrysler has those, but they're facing inward instead because the unibody rails are out on the rockers. See that? All this, and this is a completely different brand 30 years later after the video. The physics doesn't change, guys. So there's a bunch of different ways to do it, which is cool. I think that's really neat. Could you be talked into Planet Crafter for After Hours? Nope. I want to finish the railroads, dude. What is this? A car? I worked on a car I think you would like today. Oh yeah, Bill? Cool. When we design stuff in KSP, I take this stuff into account. I make sure the hierarchy is like this. The problem is, I'll give you an example for the Kerbal players. The SSTO, my fuel tank mounts ended up working like that. And it caused a joint to snap. And that's why the SSTO had so many problems, because the hierarchy wasn't engineered to apply load equally throughout the design. So, whoops. 63 Galaxy 500 big block 4-speed. That's a cool car. That's cool, Bill. So, yeah, a little bit on cars there. It's good stuff. Chassis design is very interesting. There's still chassis to this day, but they're just unibodies. They're integrated into the frame. Every car is made like that. Unibody nowadays. No one does body on chassis anymore. But here, the other thing is, you want to look at what the last body on chassis car looked like. I'll show you the Crown Vic. Crown Victoria was the last one. That's what it looked like. There's the frame. That frame carries all the same exact it carries all the same exact design traits as this. And there's about 70 years difference between that and this. The thing is that it's not for a lack of innovation, right? There's all kinds of little innovations in this design all over the place. Like, look at how reinforced the rear hoops are. See that? See all that reinforcement that they put back there, that Ford put back there? And then, but you see the transmission cross member, the engine and suspension cross member, that's still all there. It's all one piece. But the idea of the frame like bowing out and then coming back in, it's all still there. It's still the same concept. And this car was made 10 years ago. This car was made 80, 90 years ago. Physics doesn't change, guys. You got to remember that. Just because it's old doesn't mean it's bad. But then again, the flip side of that is there's a reason why they don't make cars that way anymore. What about a Morgan 4x4? I think Morgan might be on a body on chassis, but honestly, Morgans are a motorcycle, so I don't care. They're technically a motorcycle, right? Like, cost efficiency. Why are pickup trucks made that way then, Pun Sister? Pickup trucks are still made like that nowadays. Like, guys, here, check this out. Ready? You guys want to see the chassis for a Ford Lightning? Ford's brand new electric vehicle. This is the brand new one, 2022 Ford Lightning, right? Look, same thing. Interesting, huh? Seriously, pickup trucks are still made that way. It's strong. It's strong to make things this way. So why are there still built-on body versus unibody lists and details for newer vehicles? I don't know, Access. I have no idea. There's no body-on chassis automobile that I know of. I could be wrong, though. But yeah, see? Look, same thing. You got a fully boxed frame. Instead of using C-channel, it's fully boxed front to back. The reason why is because the frame holds the batteries in this design. It holds the battery cells, so this thing needs to be strong. I mean, look at how beefy some of these rear cross members are. The reason why these cross members are so strong, front and rear, is because they're holding the electric motors. Is that different from body on frame? Body on frame. That's a redundant statement. Well, no, it's not. It's chassis. So body on chassis or body on frame is the same thing, guys. That means the same thing. There's unibody and then there's body on chassis. That's the two principal architectures for how vehicles are made nowadays. Most trucks are body on chassis. There are unibody trucks out there. Ford made some in the 60s and they were junk. It's true. Body on frame is unsafe. Debatable. Unibody is generally better for smaller cars because they got a kind of crumple zone. Trucks have crumple zones too, fellas. What is a unibody? A unibody is when they take the structure of the car and put it into the frame of the car, or put it into the chassis of the car. So, like, if you look at the Lightning, right? You have a chassis, and then you have the pickup truck parts on top of that, right? That's bolted to it. You can see the mounts for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's body on chassis. That's what that's called. And then there's a unibody design, a unibody chassis. A unibody chassis is when they design the structure, i.e. the frame, into the car's design. So, like, let's look at this Lamborghini. The Lamborghini is a unibody. The body of the car is the frame. Unibody. One thing. But that doesn't mean that you can't have subframe designs in cars either. There are hybrids. Like that is a carbon fiber monocoque. The passenger compartment is one piece of carbon fiber. And then you have subframes front and rear. Metal that's bolted to the carbon fiber. The carbon fiber in here is the foundation of the vehicle, in the same way that this is the foundation of the vehicle. They did that to save weight. This saves weight if you do that. Makes cars more efficient. Now, this is a front subframe up here. If you look at the front subframe, it's interesting. Look at this Lamborghini. Look at the subframe. Look at it. You got a front cross member, and then you have a suspension cross member right there, and then you have a triangulated suspension cross member. Literally this, right there. Same exact thing. It's not that different. The suspension design has changed a lot, but the way that even that subframe on this brand new freaking Lamborghini still carries that same concept. It's the same thing. Like I said, physics doesn't change. There's a reason why airplanes look the same and why they've looked the same for a good amount of time. Unibodies are cool, man. It's a cool idea. I don't know who did the first unibody. I think it was Chevy. I think. Could be wrong on that one. Think of all the cool stuff that could be bolted on top of a Lightning rolling chassis. Bill, something that makes me really like Ford with how they're approaching EV is that they're just selling crates. They know that people are going to want just the motors, just the batteries, just the frame. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ford just sold those damn frames wholesale and people put like Crown Vics on those things. Can you imagine in like an EV Crown Vic? I mean, Ford, you know what the funny thing is? Ford even did that themselves. Here. Ford did it themselves. They took one of their old trucks. They took a 79 and they freaking put it on an electric vehicle chassis. Look at this thing. That truck is all electric. That's 79. It's all electric, man. It's true. You can see the frame right there. See it? That's really cool, actually. Yeah. This thing screams. It goes so fast. It's all-wheel drive. This thing just... Bye-bye. Yeah. Imagine if they sold these. Dude, you know what the crazy thing is? They hinted at it. Dead serious. They hinted at doing it. They were like... They posted that on Twitter a little while ago, and the CEO of Ford, a guy by the name of Jim Farley, he replied and he said, keep your eyes peeled. We'll see what we can do. Like, whatever. I mean, I don't know. It could be nothing, but they teased it. That's not the first time they've teased that. They Ford like tweets out like every once in a while, like the Ford proper Twitter account is like, you know, if you could have any Ford from history EV swapped, which one would it be? They keep doing like market research with Twitter. It's very, very strange. Are you planning to mod one of your trucks to an EV? No. No. Does Jim Farley live in a van down by the river? Yes. Iger, he's Chris Farley's cousin. No joke, go look it up. It's Chris Farley's cousin, dude. Matt Foley's cousin is the CEO of Ford. That's what he wanted to do with his life. It's true. 4BT in the 59. I'd rather put a 4BT in the F250 if we were going to do that. But if we're going to do that, it would be a 6BT. Because Ford made the best chassis in the 90s and Dodge made the best motor with the Cummins. 12 valve in the 12 valve in the 97 would be very cool. That would be really cool. Yep. Wait, really? Yeah. 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 Dude, look at Jim Farley. All right, hold on. Look at this guy. You're telling me that dude is not related to Chris Farley? Oh, he's absolutely related to Chris Farley. 2JZ swap the F250? No, I'm good. Ford made a bigger inline 6 that'll bolt into that truck anyway. Yeah, guys, this is the CEO of Ford. Oh yeah, also, quick side note for the electric vehicle people. Ford's building a gigafactory in Tennessee. Yeah, they're building their own gigafactory. And it's I'm not sure if it's as big as Giga Texas, but it is pretty damn big. Good luck finding a cheap 12 valve. Don't do that to me. Yeah, look. Jim's cool. This guy's actually really cool. And it's not, dude, trust me, that's not just me shilling for Ford. Like, I do that enough. Jim's cool because if you look at his profile picture, dude, he races vintage Fords for fun. This guy goes, takes his 69 Mustang and races it. In fact, like, he had to go through like a Ford Board of Trustees confirmation meeting when he was up for CEO because they wanted to see, like, they wanted to make sure that the type of racing that he did was safe enough so they don't like up and lose their CEO, you know, like in a racing car crash or something. Yeah, guy races like Trans Am Fords from the 60s for fun. It's actually really freaking cool. You just need a bus engine? I'm pretty sure somebody's already doing that. Like, dude, this guy's a racing nutcase. Check this out. He builds these freaking models for fun. Look at that. Latest creation, 112 Tamiya Graham Hill Ford DFV. Like, he posts pictures of the models that he makes. That's an awesome car for what it's worth. People are going to say the wings look stupid, but Yeah, I agree, but also I wish GM would find a CEO that wasn't some rando corporate shill. Agreed. Oh, nice. That's cool, goalie. Yeah, that guy's cool. Jim's a cool dude, man. And once again, that's not just me saying nice things about Ford because I like Ford. He's actually cool. That guy's legit, man. He's a car nutcase. And he's the one that really is really pushing Ford to make EVs that are not pieces of crap. Like, Lightning. I'm not sure about the Mach-E though, but I don't think that was his idea. That was it when F1 was first toying with Aero. Late 60s, Hellfish, yeah. I mean, here. While we're here, let's just take the time to look at a Lotus 49 then. While we're here, let's look at this nice Lotus 49 while we're talking about it. And, yep. It's literally a go-kart with a V8 attached to it. Now, a little bit of a thing on chassis here. Colin Chapman was the engineer for this car. Colin Chapman came up with an idea to save a lot of weight in Formula One car design, and he came up with an innovation in Formula One that is still used to this day. Check this out. So we were talking about the frame, right? So what does the frame of a Formula One car look like? Well, it's a unibody. So this is an aluminum shell. All the green right here. See, from the number 4 forward, that's an aluminum shell, right? And this aluminum shell, it's like an exoskeleton for the Formula One car. It's called a monocoque design, right? An aluminum monocoque. And the suspension is tied into that shell. But if you notice, the shell doesn't go all the way to the back of the car. Because Colin Chapman came up with the idea of using the engine as the frame. The engine is the frame in this design. It's the frame. The engine and the transmission hold the back of the car together. This is something that Formula One cars, they still do that to this day. Yep. He came up with the idea using the engine to save weight, right? Because if you had like two beams going on the side of the motor to the back suspension, right? That's going to be a lot of extra weight and your car won't go as fast. The engine is already strong enough to contain explosions. It's not going to bend. It will not bend at all. So use it as structure. Formula One cars still do that to this day. How safe is it? F1 cars still do it. The monocoque design with the engine as the rear structural crossmember is still a thing with Formula One cars. Here, check this out. Ferrari. If you look, actually, Hellfish, we've got to see if we can find a picture of the car without the engine, or without the covers on. They have a lot of aero covers, but from about here, you can literally see where the engine cover is. See the difference in shading right there on the Ferrari? From here forward to the front of the nose, it's the same thing, guys. It's still that, but they make it out of carbon fiber because it's stronger, right? Same thing. From the middle of the car forward is still a carbon fiber monocoque. And then everything else, this whole thing, the rear suspension and everything is bolted to the engine and the transmission. True story. Actually, yeah, we can look at Mix Haas here. Yeah, if you want to look at Mick's car. Yeah. Mick's car hit the wall so hard that it sheared the transmission off. The engine is still attached because you could see the exhaust header right there. Yeah, I don't want to look at Roman's car. No thank you. Dude, I have trouble watching that, man. Yeah. The track stewards went to pick the car up and it fell apart. See? The transmission, well, it's a transaxle, really, to be honest. The transaxle, which holds the whole suspension, the rear suspension together, because the crash sheared it. It kind of ripped it off sideways. And when they went to pick the car up, it fell over. Any fixing that? That's a little bit of a write-off, man. I don't think you can fix that chassis. But you can actually, if you look here, let's look at this image up close. You can see the carbon fiber shell that protected Mick. See it right there? From where the E is all the way up to here. It's a shell. The nose is designed to be removed, just in case you need to fix it. But the main structure of the car goes from here all the way to here. Does that mean it's not coming on then? No conversation about aerodynamics is fair without consider. Okay. Yep. You mean salvage the bolts, right? Yeah, this thing. You want to look at the severity of a crash, guys? Look at the rims of a car. The rims of a car are always a good way to tell the severity of the crash. Because if the rims are bent and broken like this, you know you hit the wall really hard. The tires are always a really good indicator. If you broke the rim, you know how strong this thing is? If you broke the rim of the car, that means it got hit with enough force to break that. I mean, Mick caught the curb and it really, I got worried for a second, man. I don't think they're magnesium. No, I think the rims are aluminum or something. But check it out. Look, the car hit the wall. It hit the wall kind of sideways, and the shearing force broke the car in half right here and right here. It did what it's designed to do. You can see that it starts to crack right there. See it? And then it's a little crack here, but the whole front right part of the car is like this. The nose of the car is going to the left, and the middle part of the car is pointing that way because it's sheared. That shearing force is designed to absorb the impact. It disperses the energy. So the energy of hitting the wall gets transferred to basically this cross member right here. Well, not the cross member, where the engine bolts to the monocoque. The force is transferred there, and it's specifically transferred to the bolts that hold that thing together. And that energy hitting the wall gets dissipated from snapping the bolts off. That's what the car is supposed to do. It's supposed to come apart. That takes the force and prevents it from being transmitted to the driver. So it doesn't, do that thing, that death thing. Yeah, we don't want that. That's bad. So it transfers the force to different attachment points on the car, and the bolts are designed to take the impact. And they're designed to take that kinetic energy and transfer the kinetic energy into a shearing force, which shatters the bolts, and the car comes apart. It's supposed to do that. Yeah, it's really, really cool stuff. I mean, the fact that these guys can walk away from this stuff is really just testament to the design, and I'm super happy that Mick's okay. And look, here's another picture. One more. Look. See the mounts? 1, 2, 3, 4. The bolts sheared right off. You can see them. They're broken. See, right there. You can see it. It shattered it. It's supposed to do that. It's like the crush core on Falcon 9. Same exact concept. Haas said the tub and the engine were the only parts that were able to be salvaged. Yeah, see, everything here, Hellfish, is a write-off. That's junk. Look. Yeah, that's junk. Can you pay to try one of these cars? Formula 1 cars? Nah, I don't think so. Yeah, Arctic. Okay, so just for future reference, dudes. The initial crash isn't what scares me with Formula 1 drivers. I watched Jules get, leave us, and that was not fun. What you got to look for is if they're moving their head around. If they're moving their head around inside after the crash, then you know you're good. Watch for the helmet. If they're looking around, going like this, that means they're okay. If you see this, that's bad. That's really bad. The other thing is, sometimes your adrenaline is going so hard when you hit the wall that Formula 1 drivers in the past have gotten up, they've gotten out of their car, and they're like, yeah, I'm fine. Everything's good. And then they died at the hospital later. Yeah, it's scary, man. Max and Lewis at Silverstone last year. Max didn't move initially, and it scared the piss out of me. I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah, you could tell from the comm loop that they had on Drive to Survive that hurt a lot. Max was like, okay. imagine? He hit the wall. 70 G's. 70 G's hitting the wall. That's like being punched in the stomach by a semi-truck. It hurts. Like, that really hurts. Like, a guy couldn't breathe. Like, dude, take your breath away. Like, immediately. Have you seen Ralf Schumacher's crash at Indy in 2004? Silent Calm, I watched that race. Yeah, not pretty. How about Olivier Panis at, what was it, Montreal? Or no, was it Australia or Montreal? I forget. In 97. That was bad. He broke both of his legs. That was a bad crash. How it feels to be punched by God. Yep. Kubica's crash at Canada in 07 was bad. I'm happy he's still with us, but I'm not showing that on stream. Isn't the ballistic energy of a Soyuz like up to 30 Gs or something? The ballistic entry? No. Well, ballistic entry, maybe, but most re-entries are ballistic, or you're not under propulsion. But, I mean, if there's an emergency, yeah, you're going to feel it. If you need to get down from space real fast, it'll hurt. Where's the crash where he went over the other car? I was at that race. Alonso did that. What was it, 2014 Hawks? Yeah, that was a bad crash. I was watching that race too. Yeah, Kubica's rally crash was no joke, man. Bourdais Indy qualifying wreck, that was scary, Hellfish. Yeah, at Indy a couple years ago, that was scary too. Especially after what happened with Dan, man. That was scary. I went, oh, okay. Yeah. It was Canada? Yeah. Spa 97 was nuts. Yeah, Schumi almost killed David Coulthard in the paddock. He almost killed him. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that you do with racing. Like, racing can be safe, guys. It can be safe, but at the end of the day, you're still going around the track going 320 kph. You're going 200 miles an hour. Physics does not want you to be going that fast. And believe me, if physics gets a chance, it'll make sure you're not going that fast anymore. So you got to be careful. Rubens at San Marino. Yeah, in 94, Brem. I don't know how Rubens walked away from that crash. The wreck was 114. Yuck. Yuck. Grosjean was the worst I've ever seen. And he survived almost unscratched. Luizo, I can't believe he crawled out of the fire. Dude, somebody was looking after him that day. I don't know who or what or when or if it was science or what, man, but somebody was watching over him. That's unbelievable. I can't believe that. I cannot believe he walked out of that crash. How does that even happen? How does that even happen? Yeah, Rogue. Rubens crashed in practice, and then Ratzenberger in qualifying, and then Senna in the race. Three nasty crashes, 2 deaths that race. Is no good. There's a reason why they changed Imola after it, and probably for the better. I like how it races now anyway. It races better than it did before. Yeah, Angry Sec, I'm with you. How about Eric Comas? When Senna jumped out of his car and pulled him out of the freaking car. That was cool. Oh, actually, hold on. All right. So first of all, if you get it, you get it. So. If you get it, you get it. Second of all, I think it's actually in that thread. Hold on. No. If you get it, then you get it. Second of all, there's some footage in here somewhere. Speaking of stopping on the track, when Mick crashed, Bottas pulled up to his car and he gave him the thumbs up, and he got the thumbs up from Mick, and he kept going. Bottas checked on him. Yeah. Made me like him even more. There's footage of it somewhere around on the internet. At Jeddah during qualifying when Mick crashed. Valtteri was the next guy around the track, and he pulled over to his car and he gave him the thumbs up to make sure. I like Bottas. I I like post Mercedes Valtteri. Very good dude. The first driver was Leclerc. Did Leclerc check on him too? I missed that part as well. Like Seb checked on Norris at Spa. Dude, you got to look out. You got to look out for your competition, man. You don't want to. Nobody wants someone to die out there. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. It's cool that there's a fellowship there. That makes me really happy. James Hunt stopped in one race and pulled a guy from a burning car. Ronnie Peterson, 1978. Yeah, I know. That was bad. Bottas to Ferrari soon? I don't think so. Yeah. Ronnie Peterson. I think it was Zandvoort. Zandvoort, 1978? Yeah, he didn't live. Vegas, yeah, sorry, that's cool. Check that link. Let me see. I don't show death on stream, but oh yeah, okay. Charles, let me see. This is not that. I thought you were gonna link the Peterson crash. I don't want to watch that. The Peterson crash is brutal, dude. It's like you're gonna be like, oh god. Yep, Leclerc checked on him too. We like Charles. Charles is cool, and so is Valtteri. A bunch of good dudes, man. I hope this season is as awesome as the first two races are. Yeah, Hellfish, it's cool, man. And if you don't get this, okay? If you don't get this, I'll show you. It's down here. So, when Bottas was driving for Mercedes... Dude, he's just like, huh. All right. That's so funny, dude. Oh, man. Yeah, no, Silent Com, I'm with you on that one. That clip is the best, man. It's so funny. It's just like, all right, cool. All right. And then there's Mark II. Oh, man. Finnish people are awesome. It's just, no. That's so funny, dude. I still don't even, just, why? Why you do this? Raikkonen was cool, if you know what I mean. Kimi was my favorite driver, Andy. I hated him before 2007. And then something happened in 2007 that made him my favorite driver. And he's been my favorite driver pretty much until this year. I'm here for the new Bottas arc, right? Yep. All right. Anyway, let's jump into some space news. NASA has some pretty cool stuff coming out today that I want to show you guys. I want to explain it to you. Leave me alone. I know what to do. I was at the Indy F1 race in 2005. Oof. Yeah, right, Baramas? Yeah, that's right. Because he was the only Ferrari champ in 15 years. Shut up. I had a dog. He died. Me too, for the reals. Yeah, when Kimi crashed in Monaco, and he just said, frick this, he didn't even bother going back to the paddock. He just got on his yacht with his Finnish buddies and got drunk. He went into his yacht at Monaco, took off his racing suit, and went and jumped into the freaking hot tub and just sat there and was just like, yeah. Oh my god, what a legend. I love it. Alright, let's jump into some space news, shall we? Clip of this? Oh, it's around. Just type Kimi Räikkönen Monaco yacht and it'll pop up. He just straight up doesn't even bother going back to the pits, doesn't even bother like talking to his race engineer. Nope, he walks right to his yacht, gets in the hot tub, and he's just like, Yeah, sure, Nuggets. Go ahead. Yeah, Kimmy. That's why Kimmy's my favorite, man. He didn't give a frick. All he cared about was driving the car. Even in Drive to Survive. Diamonds are made under pressure. Now it's a hobbit to me. I just stop whenever I want to. Here you go. What's that, Nuggets? Oh, Tony Bella's infographic. That's cool, man. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, Senna in 88, Luizo. Just got too deep going into the tunnel, man. Ugh, it just got too deep. Yeah, here it is. We got to do space news, guys. I could talk F1 with you all day. Trust me on this. Let's check it out. Check this out, and then we'll go, okay? See, Kimmy's car broke. This is when he was driving for McLaren. This is his last year for McLaren. He's just like... Car had a little bit of problems there. So he just rolled the car down there, just got out, and... Damn it. Just went and walked into the... Everyone's like, where are you going? He's like, nah, I'm fine. Just walk through the park. Satana. It was a nice walk through the park. Like, dude, he's like out of the race right now. There's just people walking around and stuff, and they're like, wait, is that Kimi Räikkönen over there? What the hell? Alright, I'm gonna head out. The people in the stands are like, wait, what's he doing? Guy straight up starts walking down the pier. This is the best. Just walks down the tunnel, just keeps walking. He's got his gloves, got his neck device. Just keep going. Like, people following him, like, what are you doing? Just walk down the track. It's still going. Like, dude, that's a long walk. That's the longest straight in Monaco. He just got in the hot tub. Oh my god. Yeah, see. Oh, this one doesn't show him going all the way. Yeah, see, look, he's just chilling in his hot tub. He's just fucking chilling. That's the best, man. What a legend. Still my favorite. He says, just go get drunk on my yacht. See you later. The gig at Chad. Was that a DNF? It was a DNF. He stopped giving a frick. He's just like, I'm going to my yacht. Here, I think this one has some better footage here. Here, let's see. Yep. Oh my god. That's so freaking funny, dude. I don't know there's like footage. I could have sworn there was footage of him around, like actually walking up into his yacht. Yeah, see? See, look, there's the picture. See, he just walked right on. Doesn't care. Nah, that's not the same yacht. Never mind. All right, anyway. Let's get into space news. Yeah, no, he's just like, yeah, screw this. I'm out. I suppose you're going to play the new F1 game this summer. Maybe. I'll think about it. Perkele. Yeah. Do you remember Mika? Of course, Andy. Andy, I've been watching Formula 1 since 96. 96 was my first season. My dad introduced me to it when I was really young. I was 8. I've pretty much watched almost every Formula 1 season since. The ones I didn't watch are 2016 because I didn't care because Mercedes. I did not watch much of 2020 either because I didn't care because Mercedes. And I didn't watch, like, I think 97. I didn't watch 97. I didn't watch every race live. That's what I mean. Your first season was 1978? Oh, there you go. Is there going to be a mission mode before KSP2, or you're holding back until KSP2 arrives? It'll be before KSP2. Or at least I hope. I don't know when KSP2 is coming out. Yeah, so I know Hakkinen. I watched him drive, Andy. Yeah, Miko's real good. He's real good in that Williams, man. Real good. Yep. Yeah, username. It's good stuff. Heinz Harald Frentzen, Toto. Of course. Yeah. Yeah, dude, I remember most of the drivers. Yeah. Frentzen was a good driver. He's not bad. Never was in the fastest car. Watching Mika and Schumi duke it out was really fun. That was a treat. I didn't realize it at the time, but I've gone back and watched those races since. I'm like, wow, okay. It was the McLaren, or was it the Williams? I said Mika was driving the Williams. He wasn't driving the Williams. He was driving the silver and black. The silver and black. That's McLaren. It said West on the side. In Italy, Sunday used to be F1 time, at least in my childhood. Well, Andy, we're Forza Ferrari. Dude, they're good, man. Charles and Carlos are very, very fast. They're good drivers, and the car is good too. Binotto has done a good job. Really, he has. He's done good. But Andy, not a lot of people know that Mattia Binotto was Ferrari's engine designer. Not engine designer. He wasn't the engine designer. He worked on the engines for Schumi in the early 2000s. He was an engineer for the early 2000s Ferrari. Sempre Forza Ferrari. See. How much can an amazing driver legit make up in terms of a worst car? Yarg, in Formula 1, at the end of a race, there's 20 cars in the running. The first 10 cars get points, first being the most, 10th being the last. A good driver should be able to take a car that's off pace and put it in the points. You're not going to get third, second, first, stuff like that. But if the car is junk, a good driver should be able to put it into the points. Case in point here. Mercedes right now is having some problems with their intakes. They didn't design their intakes are all weird, dude. They're trying to, first of all, they have Skylon's radiator inside of their side pods. Seriously. Mercedes has a deal with reaction engines. They have Sabre engine intakes on their car. No joke. You go look it up. Yeah. To tie this back into space news, yeah. They have reaction engines radiators. The front radiator for Skylon. Yeah. It's in the intakes on their car. Mattia, not Mattia. Pronounce the Z in Forza more like Forza. Yeah. Grazie. So, Yarg, they're having some trouble with their intake design right now and their rear wing, and that's causing huge sinusoidal oscillations when they go down the track. The aero is causing buffeting, basically, underneath the car and on the rear wing and with the intakes, and that's causing the suspension to bounce. You get really bad sinusoidal vibrations when the car is going fast because the air is buffeting underneath the car. You're changing pressure really quickly, so it's causing the car to do this. But despite the car having aero problems, Mercedes has two super talented drivers. Lewis Hamilton, who needs no introduction, he's 7-time world champion, which is unbelievable. He's like the Tom Brady of F1. And George Russell, George hasn't won anything, but he is an insanely good driver from what I've seen. He's very good. They drove both Mercedes into the points. Yeah. In 2 races, and that car is a piece of junk. They'll have a new rear wing next week to reduce drag. So, yeah, Yarg, a really good driver should be able to drive a junk car that's off pace into the points. Yeah, should be able to. George is the real deal, Shaw. If you watch Drive to Survive, they don't talk about it in Drive to Survive, but they show clips of it. They show clips of him driving the Williams around, and the way he talks to his engineer is very telling. His racecraft is unbelievable. Dude, he'll win a world championship. Mark my words. His racecraft's unbelievable. He's able to give engineering feedback to his race engineer, to his flight controllers, right? He's able to give engineering feedback on the car while driving the car to the limit, that's not easy. That's not easy to do. It could be a bunch of different things, RB. Knowing Mercedes, they have something in there. Dude, that side pod design is so weird, dude. Yeah, it's a radically different design. And because they changed more things, just like aerospace engineering, the more things that you change, because it is aerospace engineering at this point, the more things that you change, the longer time it's going to take to dial it in. So, for instance, if you have like a Saturn V in lunar architecture and you want to switch to reusability, it's going to take about a decade to retool everything for a space shuttle. You change more things, the longer it's going to take. Yeah, no, Cooking. I know a good driver when I see it, despite me not being able to drive correctly. George is a good driver. Not entirely sure Lewis would have been in the points without all those retirements in Jeddah. I mean, Hellbore, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter, because what the question that Yarg is asking is based entirely on driver skill. No one here could say that Lewis Hamilton is not a skilled driver. His racecraft is what got him up there. Yeah, there were retirements, so what? But his racecraft is what got him up there. Lewis is good at doing pit strategies in his head. He's very good. And he's really good at throwing people off of what he's actually doing. He's a good poker player. My ties are going, mate. No, they're not. I know, Nuggets. The Axiom 1 mission. I talked about it all yesterday. Did you hear Toto say we have so many problems we don't know where to start? They'll be fine, Cooking. They'll be fine. I'm not worried. Are you worried? It's Mercedes. Yeah, Lewis is a good driver, Hellbore. I mean, he's a good driver. I don't like him because he doesn't drive for my team. You know what I mean? Like, he's a good driver, man. No one can take that from him. He's damn good. But Leclerc's going to bring something to the table, dudes. It's going to be a good season. At least I hope. Anyway, let's jump into space news, shall we? I'm just going to put up the title card here for a second. And whoop. All right, so NASA released a new appendix to their Next Step program. Okay, so what's Next Step? Next Step is the Next Space Technologies Exploration Partnership 2 program. Next Step 2 has a bunch of I hate it that it's in the name. But so what is this? Next Step 2 is a program that NASA runs about kind of technologies that NASA is going to need in the future to go further in space. Next Step 2 is the program that kind of has contracts for like on-orbit refueling. There's one of those to SpaceX. I don't think I need to say why. In situ resource utilization, basically any type of on-orbit or in-space dependencies that you're going to need to like go to Mars, Next Step usually has it underneath it. Like it's encompassed in that program. So it looks like NASA added a new thing to Next Step, Appendix P. How you liking the Vegas GP layout? It's okay, Frill. Yep. Yeah. I don't mind it. Everybody says, oh, it's going to suck. It's going to suck. You're not really understanding that the cars can draft now. That track is going to have so much passing on it. It's going to be unbelievable. All right, so March 31st, NASA released a draft of the second Next Step 2 broad agency announcement, Appendix P, solicitation for human landing system sustaining lunar development. This solicitation will seek proposals from U.S. industry for the development and demonstration of a landing system that meets NASA's sustaining HLS requirements for missions beyond Artemis 3, such as the ability to dock with the orbiting gateway, support 4 crew members, and transport more science and technology equipment to the lunar surface. Okay. All right. I get what this is. NASA rolled out, they did the BAA, which is the Broad Agency Announcement. The BAA is basically step one for doing whatever in space. This is the Appendix P. The Broad Agency Announcement for next step 2, Appendix P, is for the SLD program. What the heck did I just say? Well, what I just said is basically NASA's putting out an announcement for the second lunar lander that they want to land people on the moon. There is already a contract for one lunar lander, which is SpaceX with Starship. And this is the contract for the solicitation, the solicitation for the second lunar lander. How that starts with NASA is a broad agency announcement. NASA is basically saying, hey, we need another lunar lander. Submit us proposals, and we'll pick one. Tell us what you would do if you wanted to go to the moon, if you were going to make a lunar lander. The broad agency announcement is the first step to getting the ball rolling on the second lunar lander, which is great. That's a good thing. That's good. Hey, Everest, 16-month resub. Thank you. So yeah, this is a good thing. This is basically Bill doing what he said he would do in the SLD meeting the other day. That's not a bad thing. I'd love for Elon to submit a second proposal. SpaceX cannot bid on SLD. They're barred from doing it. NASA needs redundant dissimilar architecture. They want 2 landers, not 1. But I actually should amend that to say that SpaceX can't bid Starship for SLD. I'm pretty sure that was the stipulation. Now, there's been, I've heard whispers here and there. I've heard whispers about this, whispers about that. So before, before with the HLS contract, there were 3 big candidates for the contract. So NASA did a BAA, and they got 3 proposals. One of them was the lander on the left. That's Dynetics' saddle lander, which is cool because it's like a lander that's an overhead crane that can drop different modules down on it. I don't know if you guys knew that Dynetics was a Leidos company. Yeah, I don't know what gave it away, but they are a Leidos company, in fact. Leidos is a defense contractor for the people that care, but that's literally the name of the company on paper. Dynetics, a Leidos company. Yep. So I'm never going to not tell you that it's a Leidos company, just in case you forgot. So the second proposal, SpaceX with HLS, that's the one that ended up winning. Here's where this gets a little bit interesting. The third landing proposal was called the National Team. The National Team was a combination of effort. It was a collaborative effort between Blue Origin, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and the Draper Laboratory. These 3 are pretty straightforward. The Draper Laboratory is an advanced flight avionics research facility company / NASA thing at MIT. This is basically MIT. The Draper Laboratory at MIT just is kind of like the East Coast version of JPL. Only they do more stuff with like avionics and advanced flight control, stuff like that. Draper coded the guidance systems for the Apollo guidance computer for the Apollo program. Yeah, just as a side note. So you have these 4 for the National Team lander. Interesting thing. From what I can tell, and these are the whispers that I'm hearing. Now, keep in mind, this is a little bit on the gossip side for me. I usually don't do this. But what I've been hearing is that the National Team is not going to submit a bid for SLD. Why? Because Lockheed Martin's going to submit their own bid. That's what I've been hearing, dude. Yeah. I could be wrong on that one, and keep in mind, just take this information with a grain of salt. Okay? You know how I feel about unconfirmed reports. It's not anything, but I'm sure Blue is submitting their own lander concept. They showed off in the NS-20 mission this morning. Some of the B-roll footage that they showed a lunar lander engine. They showed their BE-7, which looked really good, if I do say so myself. They showed the BE-7 and the BE-3, which is great. But Lockheed has been going around on Twitter and telling people about their proposal, or the proposal that they had a couple of years ago that nothing came of. So back in like 2018, Lockheed Martin came up with an architecture for going to Mars. All right. The architecture was called Lockheed Base Camp. Here's some concept art from it. There might be some things here that you recognize. There might not be. Like an Orion capsule right there, for instance, and another Orion capsule there, which are Lockheed capsules. But when they proposed it, everyone noticed this thing. That thing right there. It's something that looks entirely out of sci-fi, right? This vehicle is called the MADV, the Mars Ascent and Descent Vehicle. It's basically a Centaur. It's basically a Hydrolox. It's a Hydrolox stage, right? And it has RL-10s in the bottom. And it's basically a Centaur upper stage with like a payload bay out in front and some wings for landing. Now keep in mind, no thermal protection system on this design. The reason why there's no TPS is because if you're going from low Martian orbit down to the Martian surface, you don't need a heat shield. There's not enough atmosphere. You need a heat shield if you're coming from Earth, but not from low Martian orbit. So the MADV was something that they proposed, right? Was something that they proposed in their base camp design for going to Mars. Now the interesting thing is that Lockheed Martin started teasing pictures of MADV again, right around the time when the SLD contract was coming around. Like this is like very recent, like a week ago. They started talking about MADV again, which tells, like, and this is what I mean about whispers and stuff. I could be connecting too many dots together. You tell me if I am. But all of a sudden, out of the blue, when the second lunar lander contract came about, they started talking about MADV again, which leads me to believe that Lockheed is not going to be part of the national team. I think they're going to submit their own proposal. Martian DCX. Basically, Tor Bruno's looking at his chops to build this thing. Yep. MADV and Kerbal win. Yeah. Which is very interesting. I don't know, but okay. So if we want to go with like that's what EJ thinks. That's what I'm thinking. Like it sounds like they're going to do that. However, if we want to go off just what we know right now about who's going to bid on SLD and who isn't, the truth is that no one has said really anything conclusive at this point. We don't know the status of the national team. We don't know what Blue is doing. I don't know what Lockheed is doing. I don't know what Northrop Grumman is doing. I don't know what Dynetics is doing. I don't know what Leidos is doing. Oh, no, Dynetics is the Leidos company. I don't know what Draper's doing. No one's said anything just yet. We should probably start seeing proposals very soon, and that's why I wanted to cover NASA amending Next Step with an additional appendix. So Next Step Appendix P, which is the SLD program. Sustainable Lunar Development, which is the second lunar lander contract. So, yeah, on paper, like officially, we've heard nothing, but that isn't stopping me from kind of connecting some dots together. Once again, you tell me if I'm connecting too many dots. Rocket Guy made one? Nice. Lockheed Martin is large enough to support both projects. They already have the Orion capsule, Wisp. So they already have experience in doing deep space spaceship design, like life support systems, control systems. MADV could just use Orion's avionics, just like the CSM in the lunar lander during Apollo had very similar stuff on board, How many bids will NASA pick? It's just one, Waz. So, yeah. It's going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting. Who knows? Boeing might even throw their lander bid back in there. We don't know for sure. The National Team lander was actually pretty cool. It was a three-stage lander. So coming from the Gateway, you had a transfer stage that was made by Northrop Grumman, right? And then you had a descent module that was made by Blue, and then you had an ascent module that was made by Lockheed, which was based off of Orion. MADV is basically all this basically in one vehicle, minus the descent module. If you took the ascent module and then made a bigger transfer stage and gave it wings, that's what MADV is, which is pretty damn cool. The other thing, just on a side note, the other thing that Lockheed proposed with their base camp proposal, and keep in mind this is right off of their website. Give me one moment. This is from a PDF, and I'll link the PDF if you guys want to read about Basecamp. But look at that picture on the right. Oh boy. Yeah. So that gives you a pretty good idea what if Lockheed is targeting, you know, SLD program, how they're going to get that big lander out there. You guys remember when I said the other day that, you know, Bill said it when they first proposed SLD the other day, right? You know, he was like, we're only going to go to the moon once a year for the next 10 years, right? He said that, and everyone's like, what do you mean? I said at the time that doesn't necessarily mean one SLS launch per year. Doesn't necessarily mean that. Who knows? Maybe sometime in the future we have a bunch of MADVs floating around Gateway and Starships. I don't know about you guys. Do you want MADV launched on SLS and Starship launched on Starship and having both of those landers working with each other? You know what? I like that. Yep. Yeah, yep. I like that. What fuel would MADV use? Hydrolox. So it's refuelable on the moon. Yep. I'll be in on that. 2 SSTO lunar landers? Yeah, we should do that. That's a good idea. All controlled by Orion. Well, MADV is a Lockheed proposal, Phil, so it's gonna be able to interface with Orion, obviously, right? Makes a lot of sense to use Methalox on Mars and Hydrolox on the moon. Indeed. With Starship, though, you could just bring the CO2 with you. If people are flying out on Starship, or Starship's flying out by itself, Starship is 100-ton payload capacity, and you can refuel it, theoretically. You can refuel it as many times as you want to. Because you can refuel the damn thing as many times, dude, they could just lug a bunch of charcoal up there, and then get some hydrogen and make methane with the charcoal that they brought. For lunar contract. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but it might, you know, you never know. There's ice on the moon. We know there's ice on the moon from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. And if there's ice on the moon, well, that's hydrogen and that's oxygen. You can make breathable air, so, you know, people can not die. And you can make rocket propellant from that. And if you bring some carbon with you, you can make methalox from that too. Do you want cake or pie? Yes. But I'm betting the RL-10 could be adapted to use methalox. I don't think they'd include that in their proposal, but yeah, maybe. Yeah, hypersonic, right? Taking carbon and using local hydrogen is taking most of the mass. Seems daft. What? What? Methane is 1 part carbon and 4 parts hydrogen. What are you talking about? Okay, fine. We won't refuel starships on the moon. You have literally, like, you have 80% of the propellants that you need on the moon. You need to bring 20% of it to make the rocket fuel to get home. That doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me. Remember your atomic masses, C12H1. I guess. I mean, I suppose if Starship can just keep refueling, then it's not going to be a big deal at all. Which is actually one of the things under next step. Yep. So you guys are telling me with the 100-ton payload capacity, despite the crazy change in mass difference, that's still not a good idea? Okay. Sure. Whatever you say. So let's just use expendable starships instead of, you know, let's just use expendable ones instead of reusing it, right? Like, that's a good plan. Does that sound like SpaceX to you? That's a gross misrepresentation of what we're saying. It's not. It really isn't, Cynerd, but that's fine. It's not. Yeah, okay, good. Carbon, yeah, right. That's more than the 4 hydrogens, right? I get it, okay? You have your, but you don't understand. Starship's payload capacity is way higher. It's way higher than anything. You can bring the carbon with you and then have enough for a base. You guys, it's not misrepresenting. You guys don't understand. That's what's going on here. We can also find plenty of carbon on the moon. You sure about that, or? Where do you think all the cheese came from? That's a good point. So, all the equipment, you're telling me that all the, I mean, okay, so let's think about that. Like, okay, so there's carbon, let's play off that notion. There's carbon on the moon, right? What is the process that's going to need to be involved to separate that, to separate it? We could separate the ice. That's easy. We're going to need to bring ISRU equipment to do that. Do we need ISRU equipment for the carbon as well? I personally think that, you know, a big lump of carbon traveling in Starship's payload bay is probably going to be less mass than the equipment needed to make carbon there. At least in the interim. People are carbon, but, okay. I volunteer as carbon. I'm not saying it's loads of it, but it's there. That's good. Enjoy your loads of carbon. We'll bring our carbon with us when we go to the moon, and we'll get off that rock while you're sitting there trying to figure out how to do that. I like the idea of shoveling coal into Starship like a train. Yeah.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Galactic. 8-month resub. Thanks, man. All right. So that's the big one that they got SLD up on the books there. Here, let's go back and look at that appendix announcement. There is more stuff there. I'm interested to read it. Okay, HLS procurement path. Let's take a look. Boop. Let's take a look. Human Landing System HLS procurement path. Design studies, risk reduction and initial development. Initial lander studies and risk reduction, Appendix E. Initial HLS development, Appendix H. Yep. Sustainable lander studies and risk reduction, Appendix N. Full development and demonstration. This is Appendix H, Option A, which was awarded to SpaceX. Here's Option B. We talked about that the other day when they introduced HLS stuff. This is evolution from initial to sustainable HLS, Appendix H, Option B. This is going beyond the uncrew and crew demo. They're adding from Option B. NASA is adding another crew Starship landing. So this one right here, uncrewed, should happen in 2024, 2025. The crew landing is Artemis 3 right here. That's the one in 2025 or 2026. And then there's going to be another one here, another crew landing, probably 2027 if I had to guess. And then there's a parallel effort for the second lunar lander that's open to any U.S. industry except SpaceX, like I was saying. And that one is basically a duplicate of HLS Appendix H Option A. This is Appendix P Option A for a second lunar lander. And then from here, yep, exactly as we said the other day, they're going to roll it all into recurring transportation services contracts, which is a future solicitation. Bingo. We predicted this the other day when they were talking about it. They're going to roll it all into a transport services program. Cool. You can go to the same link in the article to see the actual solicitation. Is there something in there that doesn't explain what this does right now, Novus? Like, is there any other information? COTS, basically. Yeah, pretty much. This is COTS right here. This stuff is Commercial Orbital Transport Services. This over here would be like Commercial Resupply. G-Man. Yeah, pretty good stuff. This stuff over here, the stuff that's shaded blue, has already happened. But yeah, Next Step has a lot of really nice technologies in it, for sure. No, that's not what I'm looking for. It's the files that tell you what you need in whatever you submit. Depends on how much detail you want to go into. Oh. Let's take a look. Holy crap. This is Orion interface labeling. That's cool. Oh man, Novus, I could read this stuff for days. Oh, frick. Oh man, this is gonna take me all week. Damn. This is gonna take me all week, man. Oh no. Look here, yeah, there's HLS lunar thermal analysis. That's cool. Oh, why'd you do this to me? Oh, this is sick, man. There's so much juicy stuff in here. So basically, this is all the design criteria for what NASA wants for a lander. That's what all this stuff is. Like taking into account lunar thermal guidelines based off of what NASA knows about thermodynamics on the moon. And I'll be honest with you, NASA has some pretty good data on thermo on the surface of the moon. Yeah. Have fun reading. I mean, are you complaining? Nope. No, it's just going to be a couple of sleepless nights for you, boy, but hey, whatever. Oh, also, Novus, I need to... The systems engineering book is in the other room. Novus, if you have some time, dude, I would appreciate picking your brain about systems engineering. I need to make, I need to make up some PDRs for something if you're picking up what I'm laying down. Read it on stream, you won't. QB, I would bore a Twitch chat to death with this stuff, man. This is the real nerd stuff, dude. Yeah, man. Beep, you did it. Beep, you did it. Labeling, font size, type, color. Map, everything is documented, dude. Everything. There is no stone unturned with NASA, because the whole purpose of this is if you're going to make a spacecraft, you want to learn everything that you can, and you want to know everything that you can about it. I'm not amazing at the systems level stuff, but I can help. Okay, all right, cool. I'm gonna ask you. I'll ask Rocket Guy too. Rocket Guy is good. No Comic Sans, man. Hell no. Graphic design is my passion. No, NASA uses Helvetica because Helvetica is the chadliest of the chadliest fonts. You can't change my mind. No frills, no bullcrap. Tells you exactly what you need to read. Easy on the eyes, very simple. I love Helvetica. It's the best. Also, it's the font that they use to label spacecraft too. So like Discovery, Atlantis, Endeavour, Challenger, it's all Helvetica. Always has been. TNR? Man, frick TNR. Frick serif fonts. Serif fonts suck. Why do I know this? I know this because Brimo's a font nerd. Nah, sans serif is where it's at. Sans serif is where it's at. Not Papyrus! Ugh. God, not Papyrus. No Comic Sans, please. God, no. You like what you see here, chat? Do you like what you see? You did this. You did this. Do you like what you see? Do you like this? You made me do this. Don't make me do this. I don't want to do this. Think I want to do this? Alright, that's enough. You're dead to me. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. I had to. Okay, this is actually starting to hurt. Yeah, that's why I stopped. Very 1995. Yeah, it's like the My Summer Car website. Look at this. This is the My Summer Car website. Okay, now you've annoyed me. New standard is that all interfaces should be labeled in wingdings. Yeah, a little wingling there, little wingdings. You had a GeoCities website? Oh, GeoCities. Yeah, isn't that great? It's too real. Ken Kremer took this picture, by the way. In case of emergency, notify this number. I'm pretty sure if there's an emergency involving this, that you won't have time to call someone. Do not hump. What the hell happened there? Do not hump. Don't hump. Nuggets, do not hump. Do not hump. I'm gonna hump. No, humping is a type of consist shunting in training. Now, okay, in railroading, not training. Training, very good. So those cars are carrying SRB casings in them. The SLS SRB casings. First of all, they're extremely freaking heavy. Second of all, they explode. Very good. But you really, once again, this train is carrying rocket parts. If a rocket is exploding, you generally want the rocket to be in one piece. And the rocket is not in one piece in those cars. Second part of that is that you generally speaking, want the explosion to go in one direction. If there's a problem that happens with that train, the explosion is A, well, the rocket's not going to be in one piece, and B, there's going to be explosion in all different directions. So, let's bring us back to humping. What is that? In railroading nomenclature, there's a type of freight yard that's called a hump yard. A hump yard is a freight yard that's built on an angle. Okay? The whole freight yard is built on a slope. Why? Why would you do that? Who cares? It's car sorting. You sort consists that way. Basically, a train backs up at the top of the hill, and then when you get to the top of the yard, you uncouple a car, and then you change the switches, and then you let the car roll down the hill, and it goes onto the track that you want. It's basically a sorting mechanism for trains. Now, with that being said, I can show you a picture of what a hump yard is if you want. There's one in North Platte. One of the biggest ones in North America is in North Platte. You can literally see this freight yard from space. Hey. See the freight yard right there? See that big beige area? Yep. There's 2 hump yards actually in North Platte. This is one of Union Pacific's biggest freight yards. See? The entire freight yard is up on a hill. Well, at least the front of it is. It gets flat when you get to the sidings. So the train, what it does is, the freight train backs up, and then when you get to this control tower, they uncouple the car, and then the switches, these are brakes right here, the switches will sort the cars automatically for a bunch of different trains depending on where they go. How do they sort them? Well, nowadays, their cars have a barcode on the side, and they scan the barcode, and it sets the switches where it needs to go. True story. Pretty cool, actually. Now, with that being said, now that you know what a hump yard is, I don't think I need to tell you why sending an SRB casing down this by itself, rolling freely down this so it can go down this track and basically collide into the freight train and couple up, is a bad idea. Yeah, that's not a good idea. Do not hump. Do not hump. Do not hump. No. No. No, no. Yeah, do not hump. Do not hump. Bad idea. My boat. Do not hump. Oh, yeah. With that being said, yeah, that's right. I forgot about this. The SRB train has derailed before. Yeah. Yeah, look. RSRM 98. There's your casing number right there. Yeah, see the casings? These are casings. That's the serial number for each SRB case mount. When the train derailed, they returned some. Oh. Oh my gosh. Dude, the fact that this didn't pop is pretty good. Oh my goodness. I forgot about this. The fact that they didn't pop is pretty good. That's stressing me the frick out, dude. So, okay, this train crashes. How do you fix this? There's like a 2 million pound SRB casing in there. And if it finds a source of heat in Florida, remember, multiple direction explosion. How do you fix that? Can you imagine being this guy in the John Deere? Yep, make sure you don't hit it, guy. Oh my god, that's stressful as all hell. Do you know what caused it? The bridge. Bridge was old. It can't take the weight, dude. These SRB cars, look, they have double bogies. See that? No, we're not talking golf. Double bogies front and rear. These things are very heavy. Very heavy. How heavily modified are these cars? They're custom made, dude. They're custom made. NASA still uses them. Saying the front fell off? Well, no. The front did fall off. Like, your locomotives are right there. The front did fall off, but the side also fell off, too. Oh, my God. That's so stressful to look at. This happened in Myrtlewood, Alabama. It's also very warm there. Oh, yeah, look. They were monitoring it for vibrations and stuff. Oh, no, these are accelerations. These are acceleration rates. Yeah. Turns out that it accelerated a little bit more when the track freaking collapsed. Oh, my goodness. Dude. These things came so close to blowing up. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that. Ah, hey, there's the casings right there. Yeah, it was at the beginning of the PDF signer. They sent those casings back to the factory because, Yeah, SRB train. It comes from Ogden, Utah to Cape Canaveral. Really cool. But yeah, the track collapsed underneath it because, yeah, those things are really freaking heavy. Yeah, SRB casings. Factory no returns. Yeah, Northrop Grumman is the factory. Which brings me to my next thing that I wanted to show you guys. Northrop Grumman tested the Orion launch abort system today at their test area out in Ogden, Utah. Did we get any footage of it? Yeah, there's a huge SRB processing facility. Actually, we've been into trains lately. It's actually right near Promontory Point. Yeah, Ogden. It's right near Promontory Point where the Transcontinental Railroad was built, or was completed. It's up here. I always miss it. It's up here in the mountains somewhere. There it is. So up here, if you look, this is Morton Thiokol, then Orbital, then ATK, Alliant Tech Systems, then Orbital Science merged with Alliant Tech System, then it became Orbital ATK, and then Orbital ATK and Northrop Grumman merged, and now it's Northrop Grumman. These are all the SRB test facilities that were used during the shuttle program and during SLS and Omega, for what it's worth. And they also test all kinds of other SRB configurations up here for other applications. Yeah. The video's here? Cool. No, it's actually really neat. The big SRB test stands are up here. There's two of them. There's two gigantic SRB test stands. These are the ones that are designed for testing the big boosters right here. You can tell it's designed for testing the big boosters because the area behind the booster has been excavated down to bedrock. Yeah. Yeah. The SRB just melted all of the topsoil during firings. Yeah, it basically just planed off all the dirt. Yeah, we didn't need that. It's down to bedrock. You can literally see bedrock right there. Yeah. I've been able to walk up there. It's super cool. 20 minutes or less freedom deliveries. Yeah, it's like pizza, Ian. Exactly. Or the next one's free. Topsoil warranty voided. Seriously, look. The plume is scraping off dirt way up here. Look at how far that is away from the test stand. The exhaust nozzle would be somewhere around here. It's 1,000 feet away, and it's scraping up the topsoil up there. Crazy. Pretty nuts, huh? And yeah, it's actually really cool. They have a bunch of old test stands, and they test Vulcan boosters up here, so GEM 63s are tested up here. I don't know where the GEM 63 test stand is. I think it's one of these. Yeah. Pretty cool, actually. Yeah, see? There's a bunch of different test stands, and then... Is that a bunker? Huh. Ordnance storage. So does Atlas V SRBs get tested there? Yeah. Yeah. Bandit, Northrop Grumman pretty much has the market cornered on SRBs. The only other SRBs that I know of are Aerojet Rocketdyne's AJ-60As, and those are on their way out. They were replaced by GEM 60s. Northrop Grumman's SRBs. How can I store up that much energy as much energy as possible, as cheaply as possible? Those SRBs pack a punch. SLS's SRBs produce 2.5 million pounds of thrust each, 14,000 kilonewtons per SRB, and there's 4 shuttle engines on top of that. SLS can pack a pretty good punch. It just needs a better upper stage, dudes. GEM 63s on Atlas, GEM 63XLs on Vulcan. Yeah, there you go. I mean, Bandit, those GEM 63s, the XLs, those engines are no joke. So the GEM motor is it's called graphite epoxy motor. It's a series of motors that's made by Northrop Grumman. They're carbon fiber reinforced polymer casings. And they're using hydroxyl terminated polybutadiene, HTPB, which is what the shuttle boosters use. Same thing. And SLS too. Look at the specs on this thing. So GEM 63XLs, right? They're 1.6 meters in diameter, 22 meters tall. Look at the thrust output. One GEM 63XL is 2,000 kilonewtons of thrust. At 280 seconds specific impulse in vacuum, which, I'll be honest, 280 seconds for an SRB is really, really, really freaking good. That's really good. That is a big, solid rocket motor. That's a GEM-40 though. They used GEM-40s in the past on Delta II, 46 on 3s. GEM-60s were Delta IV medium, and then 63 and 63XL. 63 is Atlas, 63XL is Vulcan. Now, you want to know something crazy? These GEM-63XLs, Vulcan in its heavy configuration has 6 of those. 6 of these. That's an extra 12,000 kilonewtons of thrust. On top of 2 BE4s, which are making about 2,000 a pop. So you're approaching 15 meganewtons. Probably a little bit past that with that design. That's, let's see. That's like 5 million pounds of thrust. That's a lot. Vulcan might not be like physically the biggest rocket around. If you compare it to like Falcon Heavy looks way bigger than it, but Vulcan really packs a punch. Especially in the heavy configuration. It's really, really gonna move. Also, because I know someone's gonna say it, where are my engines, Jeff? Yeah, I know someone's gonna say it. It's a good little rocket, Bandit. It really is. I wasn't going to say it. I didn't say you were. I said someone was. Yeah, this little guy. That little guy. Gonna really pack a punch, man. And you got a 5-meter Hydrolox upper stage. 5-meter Hydrolox upper stage. With twin RL-10s. That's nice. That's a nice upper stage. Anyway. So, yeah, let me get that footage from the launch escape test, and we'll go from there. Here, ready? Oh, for Pete's sake. Facebook. How do we... Can we not... By the way, they updated the numbers on Vulcan. Let me see. Translunar injection on Vulcan Heavy. That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm looking for. 12 tons TLI. That's really good. Thomas, Vulcan Heavy can do 12 tons TLI. That's pretty freaking good. Pretty loud, but incredible sound. Yeah, Cam, you've seen that. That's cool. You know what? I think we'll watch Babinski's footage instead, because Facebook's media player is butthole. All right, let's see. Oh look, Ogden, Utah. Guys, somebody said, Cammy said that this was loud. So, headphone users. That's almost 50% of Saturn V. 12-ton TLI. Saturn V can do about 45 yard. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. You're right. It's still pretty damn respectable. That's really good considering how small Vulcan is. Headphone users. You've been warned. I'm cranking this. Yo! Yeah, that's cool, man. I was like, oh, that's not that loud. Nope, no, yes it is. One more time for the headphone users. Nice! That's cool, man. Who took this footage? Let me see. So this is Justin Davenport. I'm a total space cadet and writer for NASA spaceflight. Cool. Bye-bye. I'm awake. I'm awake. I'm awake. Nice. During and after. Let me see. So that's Orion's launch abort system, guys. Now, I know what people are going to say. Okay, cool. Does Artemis 1 have that? No. Artemis 1 has a dud version of this because there's no people on board. No need for the LAS. Yep, there it is. You guys want to know what's funny? This is an SRB that's literally pointed upright with the nozzles turned around 180 degrees. True story. Think like a shower head. Like how the water is pumped up and then it goes down. Same thing. Yeah. Cool, huh? The SRB is up here. And the SRB is shooting downward, right? And then it does a 180 degree turn and goes out. Like a thrust reverser. Kind of, yeah. Okay, why? That's to keep the center of mass low on a launch escape system. You want your CM low because when it's how Orion's separate. I'll show you. I'll show you. Here, watch the AA2. Here. Watch.
3, 2,
headphone users.
1, ignition.
Watch.
Minotaur launch vehicle is carrying the AA2 launch abort system for a full express test.
Nice. I wonder if he's watching right now. Last person. That one's better. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a better video, Swish. But we got it. Okay, watch. It's to keep the center of mass low, right? Dude, I could sit here and I could describe how the thing separates, but trust me, it's easier just to show this. Watch. So, the piece that we're talking about is this piece right here. So the SRB actually fires upwards and then the nozzles are turned around. You'll see why. There it goes.
Abort initiation. Pyros 1 and 2 discharge both sides.
Good chamber pressure.
Good control.
Why do you hate my links? I don't. We already showed it. What do you want me to do? Show it again? See? That's why the center of mass needs to stay relatively low. See that? So Orion, on the top of its launch escape system, guys, has a solid rocket motor RCS. Solid rocket motor reaction control system. True story. It's pretty freaking cool. Watch. Watch the very front of the nose cone. Watch.
Good chamber pressure.
Good control.
You'll see the thing fire. See it? See it up there?
Reorientation.
They need to keep the center of mass low so they can flip the thing around. And then when it flips it around, it'll poop the capsule out the back. Watch.
Jettison.
Bye-bye.
Pyros 3 and 4 discharge both sides.
See?
Squib power
It poops the
enabled.
capsule out the back. Cool, huh? It's pretty neat, right?
So there goes the LA.
So, yeah, up at the top, there's a solid rocket motor reaction control system. Here. This is the attitude control system. I call it the flaming trash can. Watch. A lot, man. Pretty cool. What? It's the flaming trash can. Something like that, Celtic, right? It's the final. The test today, MotoKid. The test today was the final certification. Here. This test was NASA's final certification. Here, look. This is coming from Northrop Grumman. Yeah, flaming part up. Yeah, right? Does not compute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. There's a bird right there. There's a bird right there, and there's another one over there. Yep, see? What kind of G's? Depending on where you are in the flight regime, it could be up to 9, if I'm remembering that right. I could be wrong. Oop. It's pretty neat. Well, that's pretty neat. So you guys want to see something cool? Watch. To really understand how much heat is radiating from this, watch this pipe right here. See these kind of little tubes down here? Watch them in the next footage. It burns the paint off of it. Watch. Not even pointing at it. See it down there? Look. Watch those pipes right there. That's how much heat comes off of that thing. Pretty crazy, right? Do SRBs have instant 100% power, or does it take a second to ramp up? It takes like a millisecond, Finn. But yeah, it's pretty much instant. It's not like a liquid fuel engine where it needs to take time to spin up the pumps. SRBs are just on. It looks like it throttles down. Well, it doesn't throttle. It's a regressive thrust curve, T-Man, because they have the grain packed inside of that launch escape system in a regressive thrust curve, which means combustion chamber surface area decreases over time. Yeah. The way you physically put the fuel inside of the casing is how the thrust comes out of the rocket nozzle. And it really is all about combustion chamber surface area. The more surface area you have, the bigger volume you have for an explosion, so more thrust you can make. You can pack it in a tapered way, right? To be able to decrease or increase combustion chamber volume. The surface area of the inside of the combustion chamber, or you could just say volume. It works too. Yeah, SRBs are very interesting. Oh, I've seen this one. The villain makes a big rocket to push the Earth closer to the sun. No, Kato, that one's a little tiny guy. This is the one you want. This is the SRB. You want to spin the Earth faster? This is the one. This is the way to do it. Watch. This one might get loud. What? What? Just for the people, just in case you were wondering, SLS has 2 of those things attached to the sides. Just in case you were wondering. What, Flight Sim? I can't hear you. Only 2? It should be 4, you're right. Imagine launching these with a CubeSat on top. Well, Jim, it's a funny story, man. They had a rocket that had this as a first stage. Yeah, funny story. It would have been a very capable launch vehicle, just saying. What's that, Swishio? There must have been a spider. That's funny. Oh, the Castor 260. Yeah, that's a big one. But we saved money! It's tail off right there. Thrust tail off. And... yep, flame out. That's nice. Yeah, mutter. Yeah, that's the only thing. There must have been a spider up there on that hill. Yeah, I think you're right. Is it a spider? Get it off. Here. You guys want to see the ignition in slow motion? I think you guys would like it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? All right, here. Watch this. Ready? There's the plug inside of the bottom of the booster. So this prevents foreign object debris from getting inside of there. When the SRB pressurizes, it blows the blast cap out, or it blows the cap out, and then the fun happens. That camera's looking through a mirror, Signer. The mirror no longer exists. Yeah, the camera's looking at the mirror. Oop, yep, that's gone. Oops. Yeah, there was a mirror there. You could see it right at the beginning. Yeah, see the mirror? Yeah, that's about to get gone. And that's the last we ever saw that. That's why it was delayed 7 years. Bad luck. Yeah, that's true. You didn't see the mirror because it wasn't there. Keep in mind, guys, this is slow motion up here. That's slow motion. That's how fast the gases are coming out of that thing. Oh, there you go. Overpressure event, and you're staring into the depths of hell. I love how it blows a ring. That's so cool. Dude, that's mesmerizing stuff, dude. What's the plug made of? Foam? I'm not sure what it's made out of, Bob. Maybe I bet you it's probably just polyurethane foam or something. Dude, that first shot though, looking up the business end, just look at, you could see the booster pressurizing. You can see right up the combustion chamber. And guess what? That's the last thing you'll ever see. The freaking ring. So the reason why this ring happens is because the booster, it lights everything, and you get such crazy thermal expansion. Like everything gets really, really hot, really, really fast, that it causes a pressure wave. And that pressure wave, this is the booster overpressure event. It gets all the air that's inside of there, because it's not in vacuum, right? Gets forced through the throat and out the nozzle. And when it goes through the throat and then out the nozzle, it works like a venturi, and that pressure wave depressurizes and you get this weird cloud. It blow a freaking ring. That's cool, man. It goes really, really high pressure in the throat and then really, really low pressure, hence the condensation right there in the atmosphere. That's really cool. Long story short, shockwave. Yeah, pressure wave. Pressure wave from the overpressure event of the SRB. I'm a firing my laser. That's awesome. See ya. Yeah, here. Shoot the vehicle. Yeah. Oh, isn't that cool? Yeah, Bill, did you ever see the footage of the GoPro that was mounted like right here? Somebody at Northrop Grumman mounted a GoPro right there and the GoPro melted. Yeah, that's how much that's how much energy is being dissipated as heat here. Yeah. It's freaking, look, it's melting the sand. Melting the sand next to it. Is it reusable? SRBs? Sure. Oh, yeah. You can repack the casing. They did that for 30 years with the shuttle program, man. Oh, yeah. You can repack the casing. They're not going to do it with SLS, which is kind of dumb, but you can repack them. In fact, the Artemis 1 SLS has a bunch of shuttle SRB casings on it. Yeah. And once again, these casings go inside of the train. And we were talking about the train a little bit earlier, but yeah, really cool stuff. Solids are their own... Solids are magic, man. They're their own magic, dude. SLS's SRBs will be the most powerful rocket engine ever flown, ever. Nothing is more powerful than those. It's not the most powerful tested. The Castor 260 is the most powerful tested. NASA came up with this idea of replacing part of the Apollo program. They came up with the idea of replacing the Saturn 1B's first stage with a solid rocket booster of equal size. Yeah, that's the Castor 260. It's yeah, the Castor 260 was not small. Yeah. Yeah, Taco, see, you know how crazy that actually is. What are you, nuts? Yeah, look at the truck. That's my truck. That's a 59 right there. That's not okay. Yeah, you can scale SRBs pretty dang well because SRBs, well, they're pressure fed for the most part. You can make them bigger, sure. You can make them as big as you want. It's the liquid fuel engines that don't scale very well. Solids, all right. And if you have a casing-based SRB, you can just add casings. I mean, you still got to worry about overpressure and loads if you're using a casing SRB. It's not like you can make a 20-segment SRB. That would be bad. That would be bad. Could we have an SSTO with SRBs? We had something that was pretty damn close to that, Ran. Canceled it because we wanted to save money. No, I'm not bitter. And I thought my hybrid rocket 6.5-inch motor was big. 260 inches. Taco, 260. It was supposed to be, they were going to save costs, they were going to replace the Saturn 1B's first stage with that. With that. Could they make SLS SRBs 6 segments? The core stage wouldn't be able to take the load, Dukas. I mean, you could, sure. You'd have to redesign the core stage, and that takes time. Yeah, that would be a significant structural redesign, and a pad redesign as well. Yeah, Castor 260. That's what Swishio linked a second ago. Fun fact, Castor 260 is still around. There it is with there it is with the nozzle. Yeah, the Castor 260 is still there. course, is the potato image. It's sitting in its test stand. They only tested it once. Yep, it's still sitting in its test stand to this day. They used it once, and then the Apollo program, they were like, nah, never mind. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at all. I wonder if there's pictures that we could find of it around. No. Is it on Google Earth? You know what? I've never looked. Let's do it. We could look real quick. Where's the test chamber? It's in Florida. I know it's in Florida. I just don't know where it is. The version tested and also proposed for use as a first stage for the Saturn with the Saturn 1B. Okay. Wait. Solid propellant rocket stage, 260-inch solid rocket booster, half length. That's half of it? Oh. I never knew that, Synerd. What the frick? That's nuts, man. That is nuts. Dude, that would have been better than Ares 1. That would have been better than Ares 1. Oh my goodness. That would have been more powerful. It would have been more powerful. Like, that would have been better than Ares 1. Jeez. This is what happens with uncapped procedural SRBs and KSP. It's here? Alright, Thomas, let's see. That casing is still in the test stand. Yeah, they never... Alright, let's take a look. There's video around of it, Gaffleg, I think. Oh. Wow, yeah, that's been abandoned for some time, dude. Look, they dug discharge. They dug discharge things in it. That's the last time that was used. Nobody's been out there for a long time. But, once again, look at how big the retention pond is. That should tell you how heavy that SRB actually is. See how big the pool is? You sent me a thing, Mutter? Alright. You have indeed sent me a thing. You have indeed sent me a thing. Go away.
Systems that might power future space missions, yet undefined. Present-day rockets are, for the most part, liquid fuel. Now under study are solid propellant rockets of equal or greater thrust. The Florida Everglades was the site of the second test firing of a powerful solid fuel rocket motor. The 8-story tall motor spewed out a pillar of white-hot flame from its exhaust nozzle. The so-called
That's the one you linked before,
large
Swish?
solid
Well, thank you.
burned 840 tons of rubber-like fuel at a rate of 6 tons per second.
What the heck? Do we have like a render of what that would have looked like? Anybody? Is there any renders of that? Anybody ever do a render of what that thing would look like with a Castor 260 attached to the bottom? A full-length Castor 260? Because it was supposed to replace that. It was supposed to replace the Saturn 1B first stage. Or the Saturn 1 first stage. That thing. Six tons per second. Solid rocket motors are cool, man. Beryl, you got something? And then Thomas, you had something too? Holy crap. Dude. That's so cool. That is so freaking cool, man. Oh, that would have been amazing. Yeah, it's Blue Dog, isn't it? Yeah, Blue Dog's awesome. Great mod pack for KSP. So keep in mind, guys, that right there, this thing is half of that. So that's from like here down. Okay, so see this bulkhead right, or the seam right there? That's from there down. And look at how big that thing is compared to the truck. The real one is supposed to be double the length. That's ridiculous. Here you go. Yeah. Yeah, this is Ice Turn Skyward, man. Saturn 1 family actual development and upgrades that were studied. Yeah, they talked about putting a putting Titan SRBs on the side of the Saturn rocket. That actually would have been a very powerful piece of equipment. You're looking at like what was it? I remember I did the research with somebody. What's for after hours? I wanted to play with trains more predominant. A Saturn 1B with Titan SRBs attached to the side could do well over 30 tons into orbit easily. Yeah. And you know what the funny thing is that that's basically what Vulcan is nowadays. The Vulcan rocket, I mean, that's how far ahead of the curve the Saturn design was. Like, if you look at the rocket rundown from ULA, Vulcan is pretty much that. SRB with a big liquid center core. What's the latest on Finland Simulator? Was it the speeding ticket? I paid off all the fines I acted, and I have more Kiryu now. I played last night. I have more Kiryu, and we need to start making... We need about 10,000 marks. I'm going to completely rebuild the engine. There was also investigations into hypergolic first stage of S1C scale making F1 derived engines and running on NTO. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, here's pictures of it. Here, let's go. You want to see trains? Oh, okay, cool. What's up? Oh, yeah. There it is. Oh, yeah, the logo. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that's one of my favorite pictures, Punzister. Swishio, what's that? Oh, another Urbex video. Was that a missile silo before it was used as a test stand? I don't know. It's fired a total of 3 times from 65 to 67. Night firings could be seen from over 1,000 or 100 miles away. 160 kph. There was a video on that site. Okay. Thanks, I hate it, Taco. Well, this is just a shame. Florida rust do be like that. Alright, where's the booster? I want to see the booster. Oh, a Toledo scale! Oh, that's worth money, dude. Toledo scales are really nice. Or were really nice. Cool. It's pronounced Saturn V because the V is silent and the 5 is loud. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, look. Oh, looks like someone's been shooting at it. Alright, here we go. That's nice. Yep, it's still there. They never took it out because that's how quickly they dumped the Apollo freaking program. Cost $58 million. Study gross mass 1.8 million. Unfueled mass 188. Look at how much of that is fuel. Jeez. 18 by 6.6. 6.6. 17,695 kilonewtons. That's ridiculous. 3.9 million pounds of thrust. Unfreaking believable. 263 specific impulse. Specific impulse. 263 vacuum specific impulse. 238 sea level. 144 burn time. That's not, dude, that's a really good first stage. Wow. The last test fire... Wait, what was that? Wait, the last test fire on June 17, 1967 produced 5 million pounds of... 5 million pounds of thrust? It doesn't matter. First stage with first stages aren't about being efficient, T-Man. First stages are about getting away from the Earth. So it's fine. It's no like 263 specific impulse is no better than a Saturn V first stage engine. Seriously, that's an F1 specific impulse. 2 days before I was born. Those were the days. That's part of the reason why I've talked about this, guys. Solid rocket booster launch vehicles like Ares 1, Liberty, or Omega, or this Saturn 1B variant. These rockets are actually, you can make those pretty damn sustainable if you have a reusable second stage and a solid rocket first stage. That's like, at the very bare minimum, that's space shuttle reusability. And the space shuttle could have been built to be reused. We know that. Something like Ares 1 is not a bad idea because your first stages, which make up at least 2/3 of the cost of the vehicle, right? Because it's 2/3 of the vehicle. It's a solid rocket booster. Solid rocket booster, solid SRB first stage vehicles are not a bad idea. That's a really good idea, actually. Is that a KSB idea you had? Yeah. I put this idea to work in the career mode save, RJ, with Jebstone 4. It was one of the best launch vehicles I've ever designed, ever. SRB first stage, and I was using 2 skiffs in the upper stage. It was one of the best vehicles we ever made. The thing could do like 25 tons to Leo or LKO. It was amazing. Check these pictures out. Yeah, those are pretty cool. They packed that grain in a very interesting way. Oh, I thought you were doing it for the new save. I don't know if for the new Kerbal architecture that I want to do, RJ. I'm not 100% sure if SRB first stages are a good idea, because you got to remember, I got to put it together still. I got to put the thing together. So maybe it's possible. I'd like to see you take a swing at RSSRO. No, I'll stick to regular KSP for now. I built a similar rocket, and yeah, it was dope. It's a good design. Really, really powerful. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that space news and subsequent history lesson. It's pretty cool. Can confirm, I made an Ares 1 style crew launcher, and it was the best lifter for the cost and the mission needed. In Dead Crew, if you employ it in scale, you can achieve flight figures that are as low as a fully reusable vehicle. This is why I want Northrop Grumman to make Omega. Because honestly, if Northrop Grumman mass produces those caster